Madam Chair, committee members, and participants, we are now live.
Good morning. Good morning. Before we begin the public hearing, I will make the following announcement. Due to the continuing threat to public health from COVID-19, City Council committees are currently meeting remotely. We are using Microsoft Teams to make these remote hearings possible. Instructions for how the public may view and offer public testimony at public hearings of Council committees are included in the Daily News, Inquirer, and Legal Intelligencer prior to the hearings and can also be found on phlcouncil.com. I now note that the hour has come. Ms. Alford, will you please call the roll to take attendance? Members that are in attendance will please indicate that you are present when your name is called. Also, please say a few brief words when responding so that your image will be displayed on screen when you speak.
Councilmember Brooks.
Good morning, Madam Chair and colleagues in Philadelphia. I am present.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday.
Councilmember Driscoll.
Good morning. I am present.
Councilmember Harity.
I am present, but not as happy as Sharon.
And Chair Gilmore Richardson.
I am present. Thank you. A quorum of the committee is present, and this hearing is now called to order. This is the public hearing of the Committee on the Environment regarding Bill number 230127. Ms. Alford, will you please read the title of the bill?
Bill number 230127, an ordinance amending section 2304 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Compensation for Members of Boards, Commissions, Committees, and Councils by revising the compensation for members of the Environmental Justice Advisory Commission under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. Before we begin to hear testimony from the witnesses we have for today, everyone who has been invited to the meeting to testify should be aware that this public hearing is being recorded. Because the hearing is public, participants and viewers have no reasonable expectation of privacy. By continuing to be in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. Additionally, prior to recognizing members for the questions or comments they have for witnesses, I will note for the record at this time that we will use the chat feature available in Microsoft Teams to allow members to signify that they wish to be recognized. In order to comply with the Sunshine Act, the chat feature must only be used for this purpose. Before we call up witnesses for this bill today, I wanted to quickly thank my colleagues for your presence regarding this legislation and quickly give an explainer around this bill. So the current code language allows for a $240 stipend for all of the Environmental Justice Advisory Committee members. This legislation would raise the limit to $1,500 for the total stipends. The Office of Sustainability already has the funding available for this increase. When we've been recruiting for commissioners for the EJAC committee, we've heard that $40 per meeting was a barrier to getting people to participate, particularly from the populations that we are targeting, those who have actual lived experience around environmental injustice here in the city of Philadelphia. So I just wanted to let you all know that this legislation would allow us to recruit more people who have lived experience around environmental injustice in our city and help them to have a seat at the table on this very important issue, something that has been happening on the local level for a very long time, but particularly renewed interest, obviously, at the federal level under the Biden administration and the work of the United States EPA, and particularly the Local Government Advisory Committee, of which I am a member, the only member from Philadelphia and the only member from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So thank you very, very much. Ms. Alford, will you please call the first panel we have to testify this morning on Bill number 230127?
Genevieve Lamar Lamy.
Okay, good morning. Genevieve, are you connected and ready to proceed? Okay, excellent. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning, Genevieve Lamar Lemay from the Office of Sustainability. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So good morning, Chairperson Gilmore Richardson and members of the Committee on the Environment. Thank you for having me today. As I said, my name is Genevieve Lamar LeMay, and I'm the Senior Advisor for Environmental Justice at the Office of Sustainability. I'm here today to testify in support of Bill number 230127, as the Councilwoman stated, an ordinance that seeks to increase compensation for members of the resident-led Environmental Justice Advisory Commission from $40 to $125 for each commission meeting. Executive Order 223, signed March 15th of this year, recognized the need for the Environmental Justice Advisory Commission beyond simply production of an annual report. The increased compensation proposed in Bill number 230127 would align with the increase in the Commission's activities and expected contribution. Furthermore, as stated, when recruiting for commissioners, we received resident feedback that the $40 compensation per meeting was a barrier to participation, especially for the population being targeted, those with lived experience of environmental injustice. The Office of Sustainability currently has the funding available to support this increase in compensation, and we will continue to have that funding for the next 5 years under the mayor's proposed budget. The Office of Sustainability supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully request that this committee approve Bill number 230127. Thank you, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Genevieve, not only for your testimony, but for your great work. Are there any questions from members of this committee? Are there any questions from members of the committee for Genevieve? All right, well, seeing none, we thank you, Genevieve, for your work. You know that we have worked closely with you all just around the formation of EJAC and really funding and resourcing this very important work, which I know we will have to ensure that we resource additionally in the months and years to come. So I thank you for your great work and look forward to continuing to work with you. Okay, for the record, I'd like to recognize the presence of our Vice Chair of this committee. Council Member Cindy Bass is present for this hearing. Thank you so much, colleague and Vice Chair, Council Member Cindy Bass.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I am honored to be here, and I thank you for holding it down as usual. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any additional questions for this panel? Hearing no further questions from members of this panel, and there being no other panels to testify, we will take a brief break to connect for our public meeting. Okay? So there being no further questions from members of this committee and no other witnesses to testify on Bill number 230127, I will ask if there is anyone else present in this hearing whose name we failed to call and that wishes to offer testimony on the bills or resolutions being considered today. Hearing none, I want to thank all the panels and witnesses for their participation. We value your opinions and now invite all panels and witnesses to please disconnect from the hearing before we go into our public meeting on the bills and resolutions. We will now pause the proceedings briefly as multiple participants leave the hearing. And this concludes the public hearing of the committee. We will now go into a public meeting to consider the action to be taken on the bills and on the bill before this committee today. We will now convene the public meeting. Ms. Alford, will you please call the roll to take attendance? Members that are in attendance will please indicate that you are present when your name is called. Also, please say a few brief words when responding so that your image will be displayed on screen when you speak.
Councilmember Brooks. Councilmember Brooks. We'll circle back to her. Councilmember Vaughn.
I am here.
Councilmember Driscoll.
I am present.
Councilmember Harity.
I am here.
Vice Chair Bass.
I am here, present.
Chair Gilmore Richardson.
I am present. Thank you, Ms. Alfred. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Bass for a motion on Bill number 230127.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the aforementioned bill be moved from this committee with a suspension of the rules and the favorable recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Vaughn seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that Bill number 230127 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries. This concludes the business before the Committee on the Environment today. Thank you all so very much for your attendance and participation. Have a great day.
Take care, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Madam
Madam
Vice Chair. And thank you, colleagues and members of this committee.